Hi friends, and let me share with you a piece of advice that I recently received, which I think is really share worthy. And it was kind of something that I already kind of knew and half forgot, half just kind of overlooked. And it is ultimately that you can buy individual bricks from Lego direct. I think the destination that most of us think about when we're going to build something new is Bricklink, and I've made well over 100 purchases there. It's been relatively reliable, it's quick, which is a place that I naturally thought of when designing the extended Arkham Asylum. I designed the changes in Bricklink Studio. You can upload your parts list to Bricklink really nicely and easily, and then it adds it into, or breaks it up into individual baskets and chooses the correct sellers, or the most appropriate sellers for you. The downside to this is that it almost never does one seller have everything that you need, and in this case it was broken down into 16 different sellers, which also has 16 individual postage and packing charges, which can actually add up to the same as what you're paying for the bricks. So it's not always the most economical way. Now, I've always known that Lego have sold individual bricks. They've got the sort of pretty famous pick a brick wall. But whenever I've looked in the past, the choice has been limited and they've not had the parts that I've needed. So I just stopped looking. I did have a bit of a conversation with this user though, who assured me that it changed the range had extended exponentially and it was well worth another look. So I gave it another look. And lo and behold, every brick that I needed in one place. Fantastic. So the best advice I've ever received, surely, right? Let me just put forward a couple of pros and cons for each before you make your own decision. A big pro for Bricklink is that typically your orders are with you within the week, whereas with Lego they do state that their orders can take up to 15 days. In my case, it was even longer. I can't see it in here, but there was one brick that was out of stock. It wasn't stated, or it wasn't listed as out of stock on the website. I ordered it with good faith. They didn't actually inform me that it was out of stock. It was just 15 days past, 25 days past. So I contacted customer services to inquire what was causing the delay, and they just said that a part was out of stock. They couldn't tell me which part it was, how long it would be out of stock, and ultimately that was left there. Another 10 days had passed and I went back to them, just really then inquired, what are my options? Because how long am I going to be waiting? Is it days, weeks, months? And they said it could be any of those. I asked, could they not just send the rest of the order and just completely ignore that bit? Not even send me it later, just forget it altogether. I can substitute that part easy enough. They said, no, you either cancel the whole order and then reorder it without that one part, but then you're back to the start, you're waiting up to 15 days again, or you just wait it out, which I did. And from point of ordering to point of receiving, about 6.5 weeks had passed, which is why the progress here hasn't really moved on in the last 2 months. Another positive for Bricklink, and I don't think this is a set rule, it's just how things have always been delivered to me, is that your individual bricks are individually bagged, grouped. I've ordered sort of, I think, about 60 of these, but they're all over. There's multiples of those, and some people love sorting. I don't mind it. It is easier when this bit here is just all of the same part. Trivial issue, not really a problem. So the pluses for Bricklink is slightly quicker delivery and pre-sorted parts. The big plus for Lego is everything that you need in one package. So which am I going to use for my next big order? I think I'm going to give Lego another try. I bought the instructions for this absolutely majestic build quite a while ago now. I instantly went onto Bricklink. Another plus point for Bricklink is that you can be issued a file which you just upload into Bricklink, and in an instant every part you need is just there. Whereas I don't know this as a fact, but I'm pretty certain on the Lego website you have to input everything individually, and on a build like this it's going to take some time. But I never progressed it with Bricklink because it did, again, it split it over, I think it was over 20 different orders, and there was quite a few parts from some places and just one or two from another. And my postman really hates me when I do an order like this because every other day they're dropping something off, and I know it's their job, but they still don't like it. So I took one for the postie team, and I didn't take it any further. But like I said, I am going to explore the options of buying all the bricks from Lego, and hopefully in the new year, I'll have this wonderful thing in my display.